I'm Sheriff Mike Bouchard, and you're watching Behind the Badge.
Berkeley 49. It's your first decision, white male, 5'10", 6 foot, white shirt, blue hat.
Go try this snow.
Hello and welcome to the January 2010 edition of Behind the Badge. I'm your host, Sergeant Mike Crum with the Berkeley Department of Public Safety. Each month, I ask you to send your suggestions to Behind the Badge at berkeleymish.net. Recently, we have received several suggestions to have a segment just for kids. Well, I want you to know that we take your emails very seriously. With that, I'm proud to announce a brand new segment here on Behind the Badge with Public Safety Officer Andrew Hatfield that will air each month and be centered on the kids in our community. But here is where we need your help. We would like to have the kids from our community come on our show and help us demonstrate the safety tips we are discussing. We also need help giving our segment a name. We would like you to send in your suggestions. The winner will get to announce the name of our kids segment right here with me on Behind the Badge. Have your parents help you email those names to behindthebadge@berkeleymish.net. We have a fun and exciting show, so let's get started right away with Officer Hatfield and our new segment, Just for Kids.
Here at the Berkeley Public Safety Department, there are chances where kids may have to be home alone, and we'd like to provide some safety tips when that may occur. This may be winter, spring, or summer break.
But wait, Aaron, we don't open the door for strangers.
Don't open the door when you are home alone. If someone won't leave, call 911.
But wait, we don't answer the phone when we're home alone.
Hello? They're busy at the moment. Can I take a message?
Don't answer the phone when you're home alone. If you happen to answer the phone, make sure to tell them your parents are busy and take a message.
But Aaron, we don't go outside when we're home alone. Let's lock the doors.
When you are home alone, don't go outside for any reason. Make sure to stay inside and lock all the doors.
I'm bored. What do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Let's call Abby.
No, we should call your mom first and see if it's okay.
Don't allow your friends to come over without your parents' permission. Make sure that you don't post anything online that lets anyone know that no one will be home.
Devin, come here. I'm hungry. I'm going to make some spaghetti and meatballs.
Maybe we should just have a snack right now.
Don't play with candles, stoves, fireplaces, or sharp cooking utensils. Make sure that you have a snack readily accessible so that you don't have to prepare a big meal. Kids, when in doubt, if you have any questions, make sure to either call your parents or to call the police department. In an emergency, call 911.
I hope you enjoyed our new segment with Officer Hatfield. Remember, we need your help to give it a name. And if you'd like to join us on our show, get your parents' permission and let us know. With the winter weather in Michigan, we can't avoid the snow. Every time it snows, somebody has to clean off those sidewalks and driveways. Public Safety Officer Justin Frost will join us next to discuss some of the hazards of snow removal.
Winter's here again in Michigan, which means it's time to clear our driveways and sidewalks of snow. Each year, though, hundreds of people are sent to the emergency room for care due to heart attacks while working outside. Most of us feel as though we are healthy enough to shovel the snow, but there are many factors going against you, even for a moderately healthy person. I recently visited Dr. Robert Swart at William Beaumont Hospital and asked him about heart attacks and other medical conditions that take place in the winter months.
So a heart attack is lack of blood flow to the heart muscle. So what happens is there gets to be a clot in the major coronary arteries, the blood vessels that supply the heart muscle. And as a result, the heart doesn't pump as well. Most of the time what happens is it causes a lot of pain. The body responds with what's called a fight or flight reaction. Their blood pressure goes up, they get sweaty, they get pain in their chest, and then it radiates to their arm or their jaw, sometimes to their back. Well, as you might expect, if a heart attack is inadequate blood flow to the heart muscle, when you're making the heart work that much harder, you're making the heart exceed its capacity to function. So typically if somebody has an underlying blockage or narrowing of one of their blood vessels to their heart, their coronary arteries, what ends up happening is that the person's up shoveling snow, and all you need to do is get out and shovel snow when it's cold and wet to realize that that's a lot of work. And what happens is the body's oxygen demand, the requirement of the heart muscle is exceeded by its supply. So as a result, the heart muscle starts to get pain, blood vessels, the blood flow slows, and you actually get a clot formed within the heart muscle, the heart blood vessel, the coronary artery. So during this circumstance, when someone is cold, you're obviously breathing cold air. That decreases your core temperature, makes the heart work harder. Your blood vessels constrict to conserve heat. That makes it harder for the heart to push against. So that the increased demand for oxygen and for energy, and the increased work that the heart has to push against because the blood pressure is going up, results in increased heart work. Discussed if somebody's had a previous cardiac history, or if somebody has chest pain with exertion, what we call angina, or if they're on medications which put them at risk for low blood pressure, if they're on blood pressure medicines, things like that. All those things are reasons that you should check with your doctor.
Now that you know what to look for and why, did you know clearing heavy wet snow is equivalent to 10 minutes on a treadmill running to exhaustion? There are a few simple steps you can take to keep you from making a trip to the emergency room. Shovel with an S-shaped non-stick blade. This requires less effort, equaling less stress on your body. You should also try to avoid stimulants, such as caffeine and nicotine. Stimulants can raise your heart rate and also restrict the blood vessels. When you shovel snow, get out early when the snow is lighter and in short stints. Try not to shovel it all at once. Finally, talk to your doctor and have a regular annual physicals. If you have a history of heart conditions, talk to your doctor before doing any strenuous activity. If you feel any of the symptoms that Dr. Swore mentioned before or experience any pain, call your doctor or call 911 immediately. Take the extra steps to keep you and your family healthy this winter season.
After listening to Officer Frost and Dr. Swore, I finally decided to go buy that snowblower I always wanted. Please be careful and follow the doctor's instructions. Our next guest is Reserve Lieutenant Len Dichtel. I had the honor of interviewing Len for this segment. Here are some of the highlights of that interview. My next guest on Behind the Badge is a close personal friend of mine I've known for a very long time. Len Dichtel is the current lieutenant for our reserve program. Hello, Len, and welcome to Behind the Badge.
Thank you, Mike. I'm glad to be here.
Len, how long have you worked for the City of Berkeley?
I started in January of 2000.
January, and you started with the Reserve Academy.
Yep, I attended the Reserve Academy from January to May. When I graduated in May, I started on the road, and
Here we are.
here we are.
The Reserve Academy, when did you attend the academy? Was it, you were also working at that time?
Yep, I was working full-time, and the academy ran at night 2 or 3 days a week, and we learned all kinds of stuff from criminal law, juvenile law, traffic stops, everything that the full-time officers learn. It's just in a kind of a compressed format.
Okay. What led you to want to be a reserve here in the City of Berkeley?
Well, actually, my neighbor used to work for the court, and she had told me about the program because she knew I was interested in law enforcement, and she turned me onto the program, and I applied and got accepted, and they sent me to the academy, and again, here we are.
10 years ago. Now, you're also a member of our Fire Volunteer Program. What led you to want to be a member of that unit as well?
Well, my uncle was a firefighter in Royal Oak, and he had some amazing stories, and it had something that was just really appealing to me, and yeah, it's always been an interest of mine, and when I had the opportunity to go, I jumped at it.
And when did you go to the academy?
I went in late 2004, and I graduated from there in 2005.
Okay. And what is that academy like? Was that also at night, working full-time, going to the academy?
Yep, I was still working full-time, and it was what they call the part-time academy, which lasts twice as long as a regular fire academy because it's only part-time at night, a couple nights a week. And but we learn the same thing as a full fire academy. It's and you're state certified at the end of the program.
So you have the same certification that I do?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Now, when were you promoted to lieutenant of the reserves?
I was actually shortly after I got out of the fire academy in 2005, after our lieutenant at that time, Jerry Gallagher, had left.
So you've had the program since 2005 as the lieutenant.
Yep.
What are some of your responsibilities as a lieutenant?
Well, on top of doing our special events and normal patrolling, I handle a lot of the administrative end of things, as far as scheduling any kind of training, setting up meetings, stuff like that.
Okay. And you do this all for free?
Yep, all for free.
So you volunteered your service over the last 10 years, City of Berkeley, both as a reserve and then as a fire volunteer.
Yep.
How many hours would you think, or would you estimate, that you've worked in the last 10 years?
I would have to guess about 2,000 hours or so.
So in the last 10 years, 2,000 hours have been volunteered back to the City of Berkeley. I don't think people realize how dangerous sometimes it is to be a reserve. As I thought about our interview today, I thought there's many times you and I rode together and we would get a call and I would just say, hey, Len, go take the back, I'll take the front, or whatever the situation was. You have the same uniform, the vest, the gun belt, and if something happened, you were right in harm's way. You've done this for 2,000 hours, and we do appreciate all of that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, today's a bittersweet day. I hear that you're retiring.
Yep, I have recently accepted a position with the U.S. Border Patrol.
So you're going to be a federal agent.
Yep.
Why'd you pick the Border Patrol?
Well, actually, I was working one day here shortly after I got laid off from my previous job, and the officer I was working with had mentioned that he had heard Border Patrol was hiring and told me a little bit about what they do, so I went home and I researched it, and it looked like just an incredible opportunity, so I applied and did all the testing and just recently got accepted.
How long was the process?
I was almost a year.
Took about a year, okay.
Yep.
And now where's the academy?
The academy's in a little town called Artesia, New Mexico. It's just south of Roswell.
And when do you start?
I start December 10th.
December 10th. So in the winter months here in Michigan, you'll be in New Mexico.
Yep.
Well, very nice. What happens after the academy?
After the academy, I'll go to the southern border for an internship. Could last up to a year or so.
Then you'll be on the southern border with Mexico.
Yep.
So how's your Spanish?
It's not very good, but I'll get lots of Spanish in the academy.
And where are you stationed ultimately after the academy and your time on the border there?
Ultimately, I'll end up in Sweetgrass, Montana, which is in central northern Montana along the Canadian border.
And I hear it's a big metropolis up there.
Yeah, there's all of about 300 people there.
300 people on the border with Canada.
Yep.
And that'll be your post.
Yep.
Okay, well very good. Len, I do want to thank you for your service to our community and for the last 10 years, all that you've given us.
All right, well, yeah, I'd just like to thank all the police officers and everybody I've worked with here in the city for letting me come on as a volunteer and just kind of accepting me as an equal and teaching me all the little tricks of the trade and just, just letting me come in and have a little fun and learn a lot.
Well, Len, your professionalism and dedication is going to be missed. We knew we could always count on you. You were a big part of our public relations unit. In fact, when it first got turned over to our unit and we were going to take on the Lids for Kids and the Fire Open House, the first call we made was to you as the lieutenant with the reserves, and we said, hey, is there something we can do? Can we link together here? Can we use you guys and you use us to get out to the community? You guys have been there for everything we've done. I do appreciate that. I thank you. Without you, I don't know that all these programs that we ran would be possible. And I'm very happy for you. Professionally, I'm very happy for you. I'm happy you'll be a federal agent. Personally, we are going to miss you here in the city of Berkeley. I do want to say from all of us here behind the badge in the city of Berkeley, good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
We here at Behind the Badge in the entire city of Berkeley are very proud of Border Agent Len Dichtel. Len, you will be missed here in the city of Berkeley and at all of our events. I cannot think of a finer representative to send to our Border Patrol. Good luck, my friend. If you're like me, you find Facebook as an excellent tool to reconnect with old friends and stay up to date with loved ones. With the convenience of Facebook comes several dangers. With us this month is Public Safety Officer Brian Lady to discuss privacy and security concerns with social networking sites.
Hi, Officer Brian Lady here again to tell you about internet privacy concerns. Use of the internet is routine, whether it be for information, entertainment, banking, or social networking. Many of today's websites or services require passing personal information to receive products or gain membership. The Berkeley Public Safety Department wants you and your information to be protected against identity theft and other types of fraud. Social networking websites such as Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter rely on personal information. These websites require use of your name, email, and date of birth to set up an account. They further ask you to provide a picture, a telephone number, and address to complete your profile. The personal information can get into the wrong hands and be used against you. Use of the internet makes up 11% of all identity theft cases. Identity theft has affected nearly 10 million people in 2008, a 22% increase from 2007. We want you to be aware of how your information is used and who has access to it. On MySpace and Facebook, be sure to edit your privacy settings. A profile that is created without adjusting the privacy settings can be viewed by anybody with access to the website. Parental supervision is encouraged as children aged 13 can sign up for these social networking services. Be extremely cautious when providing information such as credit card information, social security numbers. Always double check the website that is asking for the information. Websites that begin with HTTPS instead of HTTP provide encryption and secure identification of the server. Be smart about how you use your name and your personal information on the internet. Criminals can use it to extract money and make purchases. Employers can use it to credit and discredit during job interviews. Parents, monitor your children's use of the computer and who they contact. Refrain from posting events when you're away from home. The internet is a great tool when used safely. Be safe through the winter, and I'll see you next time on Behind the Badge.
Thanks, Brian, for those helpful tips. I'd like to remind you to become a fan of Behind the Badge on Facebook. It is an excellent way to stay updated on what we're doing in your community. Just remember to do so safely. Now we'll turn our show over to Judge Jamie Wittenberg for another edition of Judge's Corner.
Hello, I am Judge Jamie Wittenberg, and I would like to welcome you to another segment of Judge's Corner. With the recent downturn in the economy here in Michigan, many residents who once thought of purchasing a new home are now looking for rental properties. As well, many homeowners who have been unable to sell their homes have been forced to become landlords. Today, I'm going to discuss an area of landlord-tenant law that deals with eviction proceedings prior to court. If you remember from past segments of Judge's Corner, landlord-tenant cases are part of the civil division here at the Berkeley District Court and make up a big portion of my civil docket. If a landlord wants to remove a tenant from his or her rental property, the landlord must use the eviction process. Eviction is the legal process of removing a person from a rental property. There are 9 reasons specified by Michigan law that allow the landlord to start the eviction proceedings: non-payment of rent, extensive and continuing physical injury to the property, serious and continuing health hazard, illegal drug activity and a formal police report filed, a violation of a lease provision and the lease allows for termination, forceful entry or peaceful entry, but forceful stay or trespass, holding over after natural expiration of the lease, just cause for terminating a tenant of a mobile home park, and just cause for terminating a tenant of a government-subsidized housing. Here in Michigan, a landlord must use the court system in order to evict a tenant, and the landlord must never forcibly remove the tenant or occupant himself or herself. A landlord also cannot harass or try to make a tenant move out by doing any of the following: using force or threatening to use force, removing, withholding, or destroying personal property of the tenant, changing, altering, or adding locks or security devices to the rental premises, boarding up the premises, which prevents or makes entry difficult, removing doors, windows, or locks, causing the shutoff or interruption of water, electric, or gas service, causing loud noises, a bad odor, or other nuisance, putting the tenant's belongings out in the street. The eviction process starts with what is called a notice to quit, which is the first step in the eviction process. Proper notice is very important. Before a court will enter a landlord's request for an order of eviction, the tenant must have been given proper notice. A notice to quit is the written notice to a tenant stating the landlord's desire to evict. A notice to quit will be used to terminate a landlord-tenant's rights under either a written or oral lease. The eviction notice must state that the landlord intends to evict the tenant within a specified time. That time could be either 24 hours, 7 days, or 30 days because of a specified reason or problem. Otherwise, court action will be taken. The notice may allow time for the tenant to correct the problem, like not paying rent if non-payment is the reason for the eviction. The eviction notice must include certain information or the notice is not proper. While many district courts provide standard eviction forms, a letter could accomplish the same as long as it contains all of the following: a tenant's name, address or rental property description, reason for the eviction, time to take remedial action, date, and the landlord's signature. An important question for a landlord is how much time must be given to the tenant before I can file suit in the court? Well, each of the 9 reasons for eviction has a specified amount of time that must pass before the landlord may commence a lawsuit in the district court, either 24 hours, 7 days, or 30 days. A 24-hour notice is required for illegal drug activity and a formal police report filed. A 7-day notice is required for non-payment of rent, extensive and continuing physical injury to the property, serious and continuing health hazard. A 30-day notice is required for a violation of a lease provision and the lease allows for termination, forceful entry or peaceful entry, but forceful stay or trespass, holding over after natural expiration of the lease, and just cause for terminating a tenant of a mobile home park or just cause for terminating a tenant of a government-subsidized housing. Once the notice is prepared, it must be properly delivered to the tenant. The eviction notice must be delivered either in person to the tenant or at the rental property to a member of the tenant's household of suitable age, requesting that it be delivered to the tenant, or by first-class mail addressed to the tenant. Remember that the eviction notice is not the same as an order of eviction. A tenant is not required to move when the eviction notice expires, as he or she may have a valid defense to the eviction. Expiration of the time period only enables the landlord to file a lawsuit in court. If you ever have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact any of the clerks here at the Berkeley District Court. Taking an action to the court will be the focus of another segment of Judge's Corner. Once again, I'm Judge Jamie Wittenberg, and I would like to thank you for watching another episode of Behind the Badge.
Thank you, Judge Wittenberg, for another insightful segment about our judicial system. I would like to take this opportunity to discuss a recent scam that I've been made aware of. We here at the Public Safety Department feel blessed to have the support of our community. Apparently, there are some out there who would take advantage of this trust. I have received several complaints where 2 unidentified subjects are asking for donations in the name of the Berkeley Public Safety Department. They do not represent our department and are stealing these donations from well-intended citizens. Although the Public Relations Unit, including the Lids for Kids and Fire Prevention Open House, run on the donations and support of our community, at no time should those donations be made to an individual who is not in uniform or willing to produce proper identification. If you have been a victim or know someone who has been a victim of this scam, please contact me at the Berkeley Public Safety Department or email your concerns to behindthebadge@berkeleymish.net. I hope you enjoyed this month's episode. Send in those suggestions to name our kids segment and let us know if you'd like to join us on our program. I'm Sergeant Crum, and I'll see you next time on Behind the Badge.